Hey, Julie, what else did you see on your way in? We see the cars lined up there. Did you run into a lot of traffic issues with folks trying to get back in?
You know what? We didn't see a lot of traffic. You got to keep in mind that this is not as populated an area, say, as Lafayette. We didn't see a lot of traffic, but people, interestingly, as we were coming through through Maurice, we saw a lot of boats going back towards Lafayette, which is a good sign, because what the sheriff tells me is that rescues are really over. They literally went, let me get my notes here, they went from Burns Point to the western edge of Erath and all the way south. Imagine that section of land. That's an enormous area, a rural area, but still an enormous area. And they believe, they're 100% convinced, according to the sheriff, that everyone who wanted to get out got out. Now, that doesn't mean that some people said, I'm just going to stay and wait for this water to go out, and who knows how long that'll be. But what they did with those people is the rescuers actually gave them food and water, MREs and water, in order to at least help them. And at that point, the sheriff said, you know, at that point they're on their own, really, because they made that choice not to get on a boat and get out of Dodge.
We're talking about mostly ice and water. Is that what these folks are really looking for, Julie?
Yeah, ice and water and MREs, those meals ready to eat from the military, because nothing's working here. So at this point, they need something they can eat that doesn't need to be cooked. And what I'm told, the mayor pro tem of Delcambre tells me there's probably like 20,000 MREs, 20,000 bags of ice, and you know, 10,000, maybe 10,000 bags of ice and 20,000 meals ready to eat and water. And I mean, you can tell this is obviously a need for people now. Guys, any other questions?
I believe that's it there, Julie. You're doing a great job down there. Covered a lot of territory.
Yes, she did.
Oh, my goodness.
Did.
Yeah.
You know, I do have a question, actually, Julie, if you're still there.
Yeah, I'm here.
We, you know, all of us know, have attended the French Festival, the Shrimp Festival in the area, and that was one thing that a lot of folks were writing about along that Highway 14 and right where the festival happens. Did you get to see that area? And as you said, some water has receded in other places.
You know, I wanted to kind of tell you about the water receding too, because on the north side of Highway 14, really the water has receded. Sure, there are areas in the cane fields where water is still sitting, but basically it's, you know, say maybe a half a foot. That's north of Highway 14. Now, south of Highway 14, a lot of the water is receding too. In fact, we're standing right by the church here in Delcambre, and this is one of the sites all of us know. You know, we come out here to cover stories and the blessing of the boat at the Shrimp Festival and so forth. And what we're told is that really this church fared very well. And this is such a centerpiece for Delcambre. And I know it was something I thought of in the last few days. You know, what happened to that church? Because it is the center of this community. And they tell me that even though the water was like waist deep, where I'm standing right near beside the church, the water was about waist deep. And I'm 5'10", so that gives you a sense of how high it was up. That things look pretty good for the church.
That is good news,
yes.
Julie. Thanks again. We'll check in with you just a little bit later.
Julie and the rest of our staff out there looking for these different stories that are popping up every single hour, and we will cover them for you 5, 6, and 10 later tonight. And I'll see you tomorrow, I guess, Darla, sometime.
Yes, we'll see you tomorrow. I just want to mention again, the emails that you guys have been sending in have just been great. Please don't stop. We welcome any information, any questions that you may have. We certainly will do our best to answer them. And
our continuing coverage throughout the afternoon here on TV3, the aftermath of Rita. We join now our regularly scheduled broadcast.